I'm going to be honest, this was a very hard script to write. Luckily, there's only one way to start a video on this topic. Final Fantasy XV is a game I have a lot of love for. The combat is a blast when it works. The characters can be great. The world is like no other. Seriously, can we get more modern day fantasies? I love this vibe so much. And I'm not talking about something like Persona or The World Ends With You. I mean a fantasy based on reality, not our modern day reality with fantasy elements. The soundtrack is truly on another level. Its use of motifs is fantastic. Please let me know your positive and negative feelings about this game down below. I really enjoy reading what people love about this game and what people hate about it. I was actually thinking about replaying this game on stream and getting all of the trophies. I recently platinumed all of the Kingdom Hearts games on stream, and I feel like Final Fantasy XV would have been a fitting follow-up for that. There's one thing stopping me from doing it though. I don't think I ever want to play Final Fantasy XV again. I don't think I could possibly look at this game for what it is. Right now, I can only see what it isn't. This is a video I need to make to sort out my feelings towards the game. Feelings that so many other Versus 13 truthers also have. As a result, I don't think I'll ever be happy with this script as I have a decades-long history with this game. I first fell for it way back in 2013 when it was re-announced as Final Fantasy XV. It very quickly became one of my most anticipated games ever. I think I heard about it in passing during the Versus 13 days. Going into the announcement, I was into JRPGs for about a year, and this trailer hooked me. I still think it's one of the best trailers of all time. The pacing with the cutscenes was amazing, taking us from Noctis' childhood up until the moments leading up to Insomnia's invasion, perfectly build up to the Leviathan section, all timed to a brilliant remix of Nox Divinia and Nox Eternia. However, this trailer is a perfect example of why I will never play this game again. Nothing in this trailer happens like it does in the game. All the stuff in Insomnia? Gone. This scene isn't even in the game, and the Leviathan section was incredibly gutted that I found it so disappointing when I played it. Even before I developed the conflicting feelings I had for this game, I hated the way they did this part. I remember playing Episode Ignis and thinking to myself, finally, this is what they advertised back in 2013. And then that's a whole can of worms, because realistically, all the DLC should have been in the game at launch. Minus the multiplayer, that I always forget existed and never actually played. Same thing with Kingsglaive, which was the opening to the game at some point. Brotherhood. Key backstory explaining why the Chocobros are friends, only on YouTube. And I believe one episode was initially released on the expensive-ass collector's edition that I do own. Also, was this Noctis' mom? Do we know what happened to her? The Platinum episode, a demo that takes place in Noctis' dreams. This feels like a good place that you could have set a tutorial in the game and do some foreshadowing like that other series created by Tetsuya Nomura. And maybe King's Tale. The journey Nox's dad went on that was referenced but wasn't really elaborated on in-game. I know I'm going to need something to scream in later. Back when we got the first DLC pack, I always wished all of this was in the game. Realistically, Royal Edition should have been how the game launched. Because conceptually, everything is amazing in my opinion. It's the split execution that's the issue. When the second DLC pack was cancelled and Square officially moved on from FF15, I was content with what happened. But overall, I was really satisfied with what we got. All I could really get mad at in 2018 when it was initially all said and done was that too much of the game was cut out to force it into a multimedia project. Luna's weird allergy to screen time. Really important backstory being relegated to environmental storytelling in a post-game platforming dungeon.
Oh, it's so dumb that they cut that from the story and put it in a platforming dungeon.
And holes that are never going to be filled because they canceled Wave 2 of the DLC. Everything was peaceful, I wasn't a Versus 13 truther yet, and I lived in blissful ignorance. Until Kingdom Hearts 3 decided to do this in 2019. Still isn't a truther yet. That didn't come until 2020 when KH3's DLC decided to do this.
Commander. Commander. Impressive, is it not?
Now realizing how insane I sound saying I became a truther in 2020, I promise it was just about a video game. I'm sorry, was this supposed to be Noctis? Both their names translate to night sky. Hell, the battle theme in KH3 translates to Nightwing. I'm not even going to attempt to say the name in German. Night is a very common theme with Noctis. Hey, wait a minute, Verum translates to True King, and Noctis is the True King in this game. What is going on here, Nomura? I don't want to talk about all that yet. We can elaborate more on Kingdom Hearts later. Honestly, it's very hard for this video to not just turn into me listing off stuff that was cut from the game and how it's sad that it's gone. And if you want a true comprehensive breakdown of Versus 13, I highly recommend watching Final Fantasy Versus 13, the reality and legacy of Final Fantasy's lost title. It is a phenomenal video. Seriously, the video is amazing. Go check it out. I believe it can turn anyone into a Versus 13 truther. There's a few things in that video that really ruined my day when I first watched it. First off, there's a quote from Nomura saying he considered making it a trilogy. When my biggest issue with the game was how much of the story was cut, 3 games following this scenario sounds amazing to me. I wonder if that will connect to the other 2 things I'm about to say. Then randomly in 2020, Noctis' Japanese voice actor, someone who has been attached to this project for a very long time, said, "Do you know what? Fuck it. I want to talk about Versus 13," and dropped 2 massive bombs. The opening attack on the city was originally going to be half of the game.
Oh, that would have been so awesome.
And the amount of story that we did get in the game roughly translates to a third of the full scenario. Oh, the math kind of adds up for a trilogy then. Really explains how Piteous Ruins was where they ended up telling Ifrit's backstory. Oh, and the ruins were originally going to be in Ramuh's skull? Oh, that sounds so cool. I'm so glad we didn't get that.
Oh, why did Square have to choose 13 too when Lightning Returns over Versus 13?
Taking those 3 things into account, I have a theory. If what could have been happened and we all got the fantastic trilogy that we're all hoping it would have been, I think part 1 would have been the first 10 chapters of 15 and Kingsglaive, starting from before the attack on Insomnia, with that whole section taking up half of the game, and ending with the Leviathan section after Luna or Stella's death. Who knows what Stella's plot was going to be outside of that Romeo and Juliet thing. Part 2 would have picked up afterwards when the boys are on the train, giving us the open world segments for that region and way more plot. The main reason why I think it would start here is because there is a few week time jump and a title card going into the train. Part 2 would have ended with Noct being sucked into the crystal. Part 3 would have been the world of ruin up until the end of the game, where we actually get to explore the world during an eternal night, both inside Insomnia and out, instead of a small section of the city and a gas station. Like, think about how much harder everything at the end of the game would have hit after 3 games. This pacing sounds amazing to me and seems pretty likely. Keep in mind, there is a lot of unused map data on the disc still. Also, a lot of dialogue that goes unused in the game. So take all of the cut content that's still on the base game's disc, the alleged 2/3 of the missing story, and I think we have enough content for a trilogy. I don't know about you guys, but I would love to play a Final Fantasy trilogy done by Nomura and his collaborators. I feel like they would make something really good, like some of the best action JRPGs of all time. I don't know, just a thought. But we can't play that game. Every Versus 13 truther needs to accept that we will never get this game. All of the cut content will never see the light of day. This map will never be explorable. We will never have more than 10 minutes of screen time for Luna. We need to get over this game. We will never play this game. Wait, hold up. That's basically Kingdom Hearts 3. Was 15 going to play like KH3 with the Keyblade swapping, but instead of swapping Keyblades, you'd swap weapons? I've never seen anyone talk about how that's the skeleton of Kingdom Hearts 3's combat. It makes sense, though. How would any of us know that this game that never came out has a pretty similar playstyle to KH3. Kinda seems like Versus 13 was somehow linked to Kingdom Hearts, does it? Insert that one quote of Nomura saying KH3 doesn't happen until after Versus 13. Gee, I wonder why. So we've now reached the part where every Versus 13 video since 2020 inevitably leads to whatever the hell is happening with Kingdom Hearts 4. As I mentioned earlier, Kingdom Hearts makes this whole situation really interesting now. Nomura is playing coy about it, saying, oh, only I know the connection between Verum Rex, Kingdom Hearts, and Final Fantasy Versus 13. We have a lot of parallels with the music. Like I said earlier, Noctis's and Yazora's names mean the same thing. What is likely Stella's equivalent is named the Nameless Star, and this damn recreation of a Versus 13 trailer. Again, this is where my conflicting emotions with 15 truly started. 15's DLC was cancelled, we were done with the story of this game. Then it all changed and we're right back where we were before 15 was re-announced. We could get Versus 13 in the form of Verum Rex. Nomura's true vision may be coming true in Kingdom Hearts. He said he wanted to make Verum Rex first, but decided on KH4 instead, so it is still possible we will play that game at some point. How am I supposed to reconcile with 15 Versus 13 Verum Rex, whatever the hell you want to call the current form of this story, when we're still getting news about it almost 20 years after it was announced? Hell, even while I was writing this video, beta KH3 cutscenes got leaked, which you are not looking at right now because I don't want to risk this video getting taken down. One of them was the Verum Rex commercial at the start of the Toy Story world, and it uses Versus 13 Gladio, Versus 13 Prompto, Stella, and Blonde for some reason, Versus 13 Noctis, where he does the pose from the first trailer. Were these just placeholders for the Verum Rex characters? Or is it actual confirmation that we were going to get that crossover between Versus 13 and Kingdom Hearts? Why was Noctis blonde? That would have been so cool, man. Honestly, it doesn't even matter at this point, because we don't live in that timeline, and it's better to move on from a game that never came out. Even though it's hard because its creator clearly isn't. Weirdly enough, the industry still kind of holds on to that dream. It's wild that this game has managed to stay relevant for almost 20 years. After all this time, Nomura's magnum opus never died. It's just resting, and it's remained surprisingly influential. It's funny to see something that never came out inspire so many games. Both Versus 13 and Silent Hills are the most influential games to never come out. Even for myself, it very much influenced the type of fantasy I enjoy. All I'm saying is if I met Nomura, I would also ask him, hey, can I play Versus 13? 15 is a game I enjoy a lot. And much like many people online, I will always lament what could have been. I can't look at anything in this game without thinking about how much better it could have been if we got Nomura's version. I don't think I've ever heard so much cut content from a game and thought to myself, oh man, that would have been so cool if they added it. Is it fair to judge a game based off of what could have been instead of what we got? No. But what it isn't is what I wanted. I will always thank Tabata for getting this game across the finish line. Seriously, shoutouts to the dev team. They did what was seemingly impossible. But I will always be critical of what they had to do to get it out. I will always hate how Square jerked this game around for too long. Nomura reached for the stars at the wrong time. I can't wait until we get a KH4 trailer at TGS this year, and there are way too many Versus 13 parallels, and I lose my mind. I honestly can keep going with this video. I can talk about what could have been for a very long time. In fact, I have. A lot. over the last 8 years. Like, if you want to get me going on something IRL, just bring up FF15 and I will not stop yapping. After filming it all right now, I still don't know if I'm going to be satisfied with this video. Despite all of that, this is definitely something I needed to make because I think I finally figured out what it is about this game for me. Do me a favor and think about your favorite piece of art. Picture yourself in the theater watching the climax of your favorite movie for the first time.
Silence!
The first time you saw your favorite song performed live, or the first time you turned the page to an unforgettable part of a book. Now imagine if it never lived up to its potential. The studio butchered the cut, the producer botched the mix, or the editor changed way too much. You can see how it could have been your favorite work of fiction ever, but you happen to live in the timeline where it never came together. It's a weird feeling to have towards any creative project, especially one that you enjoy a lot. That is Final Fantasy 15 for me. I think it could have been a truly fantastic trilogy from one of my favorite artists in the industry. Could have easily been my favorite work of fiction if it lived up to the potential that I built up in my head way back in 2013. What could have been, man? Oh, what could have been. Do you agree? Think I'm an idiot? Comment down below. Dislike the video if you think every Versus 13 truther is coping hard about the game, and subscribe for more content. Follow me on other platforms if you want. Take care, guys.